Hello everyone, welcome to this channel. I'm Anna, and on this channel you can find a lot of videos about plants, plant care tips, propagation, fertilizers, pesticides, etc. In this video I'm going to talk to you about three main mistakes that every person growing plants usually make, especially in the beginning. So I'm going to talk to you about these three mistakes and how to avoid them, or if you have already made them, how to correct everything. Mistake number one is immediately repotting. So you buy normally plants from the plant stores or greenhouses or nurseries, and people tend to immediately repot them when they bring them home. There are many reasons for this, but mostly I think people don't really like these nursery pots that plants come in. These are basically these plastic brown pots, and they think that they don't really like it because they don't really fit into their interior, into the house, and they don't really look nice and beautiful. So they repot the plants immediately on the same day or maybe the next day. But the thing that happens here is that for the plant, it's very stressful. And it's very stressful for several reasons. And one of the reasons is that for the plant, it's already a huge stress when you bring a plant from one place to another, be it a flat or the home of your neighbor or the home of your friend, or if you bring the plant from the nursery, because the conditions everywhere are different, and what you have at home, the conditions in terms of light, in terms of air humidity, is totally different what your neighbor or friend may have. And it's absolutely different, of course, in the greenhouse, where the air humidity is most probably very, very high. So it's already stressful for the plant because it changes the whole environment. So now it needs to adjust and adapt to your conditions in terms of light and in terms of air humidity, in terms of temperature, and plus you repot it. And especially in the beginning where you're not that familiar or that experienced with plants, you may of course also cut the roots or damage the roots when you are repotting them. But even if you would do everything right when you repot it, the chances are that the plant will still feel it, and of course there will be another stress for it. So first the plant has this stress of changing the whole environment around it, and then it's also repotting, so it's new soil, and it's so much different and stressful now for the plant. That's why the recommendation would be not to repot it when you bring the plant home. At least for 1 week, for 2 weeks, let the plant just stay in your place, just observe it, of course take care of it, water it, and put it in a place where it will most probably like. Also, if it's a succulent, I would not recommend putting it directly under the sun. Put it a little bit in semi-shade and observe how it's growing, how it feels, and then you can move closer and closer to the direct sunlight. But let the plant for maybe a week or 2 weeks just get acclimated, get adapted to your new environment, to get used to your even type of water, because even in different cities the quality of water can be so much different. But the most importantly, the temperature and the air humidity. This is what causes the most of the problems, I would say. So yeah, again, I would recommend just to let your plants acclimate and get used to your environment for a couple of weeks, and only then repot them. Also, don't repot them if you bring the plant and it has buds or flowers, because repotting can cause, again, stress, and the buds may fall off or the flowers will be, will fade away pretty quick. So that's what you can do if you bring a new plant, and you can avoid this mistake by simply not doing anything. Mistake number two is watering by schedule. This is, I think, the most common question that I get on my social media platforms, on my in my inbox and in messages. Every 2 days, someone would ask me, I'm watering this plant every week. I'm watering this plant every Thursday. So the plant still doesn't look healthy and it's not growing. What's the problem? And the problem here is that watering by schedule will never work. Sometimes I have seen myself that plants have small labels from the nurseries, from greenhouses, and they even recommend watering once a week or watering once in 2 weeks. This is not a right thing to recommend and not to do, of course, and the reason for this is because watering heavily depends on the size of the pot, on the type of the soil, on the root system of your plant, on your plant itself, and of course on the health of your plant. So if the plant is a little bit struggling, it cannot really be very active and absorb water quickly and grow faster. It really depends also on the soil. If it retains water a lot and the soil will not get dry quickly, then watering by schedule, for example, you will water your plant when the soil is still moist. And this, of course, can lead to overwatering. As a result, the roots will get rotten and your plant will die. And on the other side, if your plant has sandy soil and you are again watering it by schedule, once a week, let's say, even worse if it's once in 2 weeks, so the soil will get drier much quicker because it's a sandy soil, and then your plant will be waiting for you to water it the next week when it already needs watering now after 2-3 days. Of course, it also depends on your temperature and on the plant's type itself. But yes, so watering by schedule will never work. What I would recommend here is to make sure that you just observe your plant. You can, every morning when you wake up or after work, whenever it fits you, you can just go and check on your plants and see which plant is a little bit, maybe wilted, maybe a little bit, the leaves are a little bit loose. This can be definitely a sign that your plant needs watering. Also touch the soil. You can also, lift the pot and feel if it's heavy or if it's still, or if it's light, basically, and then you will understand if the soil is most probably still moist inside of the pot because the surface can be dry or not. And this will come with the time, but you will definitely feel if your plants are thirsty or not with the time. You can definitely feel it by looking at them. On the other side, if you will notice some drops of water on the leaves, like monsteras are doing that, philodendrons, even sansevierias are doing that, this means that they have enough water. And sansevierias, the snake plants, are of course also succulent plants, which means that the stems, the leaves contain a lot of and hold and contain a lot of moisture, so they don't really need that frequent watering. So what they would do, they will remove the excess of water from the plant through the stems and through the leaves, and that's why you will see these drops of water. This means hold on, wait, and don't water them until you will see that the soil is dry, not only on the surface but also inside. And if it's a small pot, you can even lift it and see at the bottom the holes. If through the holes you can see that the soil is moist, don't water them for now. And mistake number 3 is when you plant your plants in very big pots. So transition when you repot them from one pot to another is huge. I have done this mistake myself. If you're experienced, some people think, yeah, okay, but I know how to water it, I will be careful. But the thing is that if there is a big pot with a lot of soil right in it, and you water it maybe not so often, the thing is that the surface of the soil, maybe 5, even 10 centimeters of the soil will be completely dry, but then at the bottom the soil will still be moist. And also, if your pot is not, if your plant is not big enough for this plant, it doesn't have that many roots. This also means that the soil will be free from roots, the moisture will not be absorbed by the roots, and there is a lot of space for different types of bacteria and mold to really develop and damage your plant. So definitely you don't really want to make this transition from one pot to another. What I would recommend here, try to use one size bigger pot every time that you repot. So for bigger pots, if you would like to grow them in bigger pots, you can still repot your plant in one size or maximum 2 sizes bigger pot, and then you can put the plant in this pot, in this smaller pot, in the big pot if you just want for the exterior, to look at it and to see that it's growing in a big pot. I have also done it myself. But then your plant will still be growing in a smaller amount of soil. And this way you will also avoid overwatering your plants, because in bigger pots it's so easy to overwater them. You will always be watering the plant, seeing that the surface is dry, thinking that your plant needs watering, and actually, yes, the top 10 centimeters, for example, will be dry where the roots are. And if you don't water, then the roots will get dry and the plant will suffer. And if you water, then again it will add to the moisture that's already existing in the pot, and you will basically, yes, damage the plant will be kind of suffocating, there will be no air ventilation, and you may lose the plant easy. If you like the video, if you learned anything from it, you can subscribe, click on the bell button, also share the video with your friends, and I will see you next time. Stay passionate about plants.